Actually,
So
here's
wait,
the deal.
are we counting dead or not dead?
I'm counting both. I was the kid trying to go Super Saiyan and shoot Kamehamehas at recess. You know what I'm saying? My early reactions. It's the most beautiful Dragon Ball's ever fucking looked, first of all.
Ever.
Here's my thing with that.
Get away from you.
I'm one of those guys that when it was announced, I was disappointed.
We like part of the reason we got us into that was because of she definitely did like this. You know what I mean? We can tell that. She got to a point where it's like due to anything that we looked up, she was like losing her hair back towards her tail. And anything we looked up, she was like it was missing something.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 1 of the podcast, which title is still to be determined.
To be determined.
We're going to figure that out at another point. But this is the second in a batch of episodes that we're going to be recording all in the same day. So this is the second one of those, even though this is technically episode 1.
Episode 1, guys. Welcome.
Welcome. Welcome to what is going to be hopefully a long journey. This is something I've been wanting to get off the ground for a long time. You know, this podcast, these conversations we're going to be having, because I'm a guy who I've always grown up loving stories and loving characters, and I love having the opportunity to break those things down and extrapolate on why they mean something to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like when I was a little kid, I was always inspired by things like Rock Lee and Naruto, and by Goku and Vegeta. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I was one of those kids. I was a Toonami kid. You know what I'm saying? I was the kid
Always.
trying to go Super Saiyan and shoot Kamehamehas at recess. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it's not just stuff like that. Like, I'm big into movies. I used to be big into following like the Oscars and like the history of that, and like watching all the movies that had won stuff over the years. I was a nerdy kid who was into following stories and letting myself get lost in fantasy. You know what I'm saying? And I want to have the opportunity to share why those things meant something to me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
My name is Nick, by the way. I guess I should get the intros off right.
Yeah, for sure. I'm Samad.
Yeah. Nick Swisher, as some know me. I've been a recording artist for a couple of years, and I'm stepping into a new field with this. The To Be Determined podcast with y'all, brought to you by All Black Hearts, as always.
Yes.
This is my boy Samad. We've been collaborators for a long time. I met this guy when I was 15 years old, and we've been going strong, collaborating and working together and being friends ever since. And he's going to be one of my main co-hosts with this.
Yeah.
He's like he's an elite engineer, an elite artist in his own right.
Thank you.
And we're going to have sort of like different hosts running in and out depending on what our topics are going to be.
Mm-hmm.
We also have our friend Shak, Shakur Ross, as well as
Shak with a dollar sign.
Shak with a dollar sign. And my boy John Foster, J Fo.
Mm-hmm.
They're also going to be in the rotation. But today it's just going to be me and Samad Terrel Thompson here, rocking with you. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself? And the stories and the things that inspire you about art.
I'm Samad. Like Nick said, I'm gonna be basically like the main co-host. I'm also basically gonna take care of the backing side of this little operation here. He's gonna be the head with making sure things filling up the planning of things, and I'm gonna be like guys like hitting that like post production and things of that nature. Aside from that though, yeah, like Nick touched on, both been like artistically creative in the music, right? And I've kind of just always been inspired by sound in a way. Um, I watched a Usher concert when I was like really young, like 4, and when I just seen like even at that age how someone could command like an audience like that like live, I was like, oh yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I want to do that. And that in turn later down the road turned into music and performing. And then like outside of that though, like I even not really performing like music and things that I wrote, I guess in a way because I was like a theater kid. I didn't do like
Same here.
a bunch of like plays like that. Like I wouldn't say I was always going to be featured in like the play at the end
Theater
of the year.
kids is more of like a mentality.
Yeah. So it's like I
in
did
artsy
Wizard
kid.
of the Oz in kindergarten and things like that. I did hit like I played Rip Van Winkle in fifth grade in like main character shit. Like
I
it's
was
not
in the
like
Crucible.
yeah, see, so it's like things like that. Like I did drama for a little bit. That was fun. Like hitting a monologue like by heart, like
Hmm.
you know what I mean, and really setting that scene like that. That shit was fun, and
Yeah.
it is something that in a way I'd like to kind of like explore again. But like just overall, like just I've always loved just I guess kind of characters in a different way. Being
Hmm.
able to kind of like be one in a way, like and embody that. And
Yeah.
like in some of my songs, I've been able to kind of like successfully
Find
kind of
inspiration in
embody
those characters and try
a
to embody the traits
character
you see in them.
in a way, yeah. And like I don't know, I've always kind of been inspired by that. Again, I'm trying to make this quick, but
Nah, nah, it takes a lot to paint a picture of who you are.
but
Go for it.
like aside from that, like again, like I definitely love gaming, and I love anime. I feel like I don't have like a super huge like list of anime that I've like completed, but like
Hmm.
I love it as a whole. Um, just art, even just visual arts. Like I
Hmm.
can just like, appreciate the even the art that's in architecture, like in design of that nature. I just feel like I really like to kind of like take in design and creativity in different ways and really inspire my and find
Yeah.
influence and inspiration through like just all sorts of different ways that things are created and what they do and what purposes they even serve
Yeah.
to us and in turn use that to try to create something
Art
that can
doesn't have
serve
to
a purpose for
art
someone
doesn't
else.
have to serve a purpose. I think it's ultimately
And
just like a form of expression,
exactly,
and
and
that's what every piece of
even
art
even
is.
if that purpose at its root is just that I want someone else to see this or hear it or whatever the case, and themselves find a spark that makes them want to just create and do
Oh yeah.
something,
Oh yeah.
whether that's for themselves or for somebody else. As long as some spark was created in you,
Oh
you
yeah.
know,
And you see,
like
it's funny how the train of that goes because it's always like there's not an original idea in the world. You know what I'm saying? My dad says that there's nothing new under the sun. That's a phrase he's hit me with a couple of times,
mhm,
and it's because everything is inspired by something else. Everything derives from something else. If you think you're the first person who thought of something, you're not. You know what I mean?
yeah, big time.
Even even like Benjamin Franklin discovered electricity. There could have been somebody centuries before him who figured out what static was, but just couldn't do anything with that knowledge. You know what I mean?
What's the exact timeline between him and like Nikolai Tesla?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
like
exactly,
who really honed in on that first?
exactly.
Like things like that.
But
Like in the history books, even hide things
beyond
of
that,
that nature.
like, and I and I think that that's one of those things that you have to keep in mind when you're looking at art because like those sources of inspiration can come from anywhere. A common inspiration we both share is Dragon Ball. We both go really hard
Even
for
things,
Goku and for the
even
art of
wait.
Akira
On that
Toriyama.
note, though, of like inspiration coming, there's studies that definitely prove that there's it's not like a study of like the placebo effect, even though it kind of like stems off of kind of like that nature where it's like, but it's more so like of the collective consciousness
Yeah.
and like studies that show like it's a thing, like people in one side, one part of the world can be introduced to this very private test in this zone, and they're the
Hmm.
first ones to ever take it. It's not gone public, anything like that,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like I said, it was an actual test. I can't remember what school did the study or anything like that, so you'd have to look into it. But just collective consciousness studies, and you'll find it. Trust me, you'll
Mm.
find it. But basically, they were able to get the results of this first test, and like so many passed or failed or whatever the case, and it may be like a small percent, like say like 27 actually were able to pass this, or like this is what they saw out of said test or whatever,
Hmm.
right? Then they move this study to a different part of the world, totally different part of the world,
Hmm.
that immediately scores better, right? And is that like a collective consciousness because like it hasn't gotten out, but it's in the realm of the consciousness collectively. So like 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 fucking what the records, the acoustic records and shit like that, like how technically it's like
Yeah.
in all of our DNA to access these like old ancient like memories, and you kind of just activate them,
Oh
and
yeah.
that's like kind of a part of that same deal too, you know.
Yeah.
Like in
Generational
different
trauma is sort
parts
of
of the
rooted in
world
that
we
same sort
still
of
kind
thing.
of get that same information in a way through the experience of a different part of the world,
Yeah.
you know. So it's like that's really I don't know, I fucks with
Hmm.
that, but
Hmm.
yeah, it just made me think about that when you said that, but
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
no.
No, I feel like I feel like it's an important thing that art represents like commonality in the human experience. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like the way that um people who don't like anime for instance, people who are not from that culture don't know like the historical background of where these stories come from. They don't need to know any of that in order to relate to it and in order to enjoy it. You know what I mean? A
Hmm.
little boy can relate to Gohan whether they're from a Japanese background or not, whether they know that Dragon Ball comes from Son Wukong and Journey to the West or not. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
And that's part of what I like so much about Dragon Ball and about stories and creatives like Toriyama is I like people who can make up stories on the fly, derive inspiration from random places, and just go with it. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
That's kind of what George Lucas is like. That's kind of what Toriyama's like. That's kind of what the people who made Lost are like.
Which, by the way, rest in peace, Toriel.
It's 2024. It's been a shit year.
It's
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 been so
it's
bad.
it's been one.
It's
It's
been
it's
so bad that
feels like the
it's been
longest
cursed.
year in
It's been
years.
cursed. It's been a cursed year. I've never experienced some shit like this. This year has been wild. It's been a century long. I'm so ready for it to be over. 2025 has to be better.
A few things
Has to
though,
be
I
better.
will say that that are good that we got out of 2024 though. On the note of Toriyama, are we got Sparking Zero,
Yeah.
which we touched on in episode 0. If you watch that, we could probably touch on that a little bit
Mhm.
here as well. But that and Daima,
We got two good things out of it.
we got Daima. We know that we're getting another movie that'll probably have a good little touch of Toriyama in there too.
As
But
far
like,
as
as far
2024
as what we
goes,
already have released, yes, like Daima and getting to experience the beauty that it
not
is,
only that, but One Piece has been heat.
which we
Boruto, Two
touched
Blue
on too
Vortex
in
has been
episode
heat.
0, how I've been
Uh,
catching up on.
Don De Don, which you haven't started yet, is fucking heat.
But I got to.
Um,
So it's like,
we anime's doing just fine,
yeah,
but as far as like the year itself, just oof.
oof,
Have
big
it's been
oof,
a big fucking oof.
big oof.
Dune was cool. We got Dune out of it.
I ain't seen,
You
I
ain't
ain't
seen
even,
Dune?
nah.
Oh,
I
buddy,
will see like
you're not up on your movie game, are you?
I've been trying to get on my movie game in a different way, which actually that reminds me of a little surprise.
Oh
Uh
yes, you promised us a surprise
yeah, so
back in
my
episode
idea,
0.
and to kind of challenge you with what I've been doing with movies here
What are
lately,
you doing with
I
movies
like
lately?
movies that kind of fuck me up in the head a little
Ah,
bit. I like
I like to
movies.
feel good when I watch a
I
movie.
like I like a little feel good here and there too. Don't get me wrong, but I like a movie that's gonna fuck me up in the head a little bit. For multiple reasons, and also I guess in multiple ways. I should probably explain me what I mean there
Yeah.
too. I mean in multiple in different ways. So like Memento fucks me in the head a little bit because
Mhm.
of the way that the movie kind of plays out in like a couple different timelines that's like forward and backwards at the same time.
Yeah.
That shit kind of fucks me up.
Pulp Fiction's like that.
And I like shit like that. I like that shit. I like something I watched recently on my list of these movies that kind of are
Mhm.
like what. I still need to finish. I start watching everything everywhere all at once at a bad time because I always end up falling asleep like halfway through.
I like that
I
movie.
need to finish that because that
Have
movie
you
is
never
like a what
finished
the
it?
fuck. I've tried like 3 times, but
Oof.
I keep starting it too late in the night, and I'm too comfy and I fall asleep. So I need to finish that one. Which was
That's
the
kind of an
same with a couple
indictment on
other
the movie,
movies.
isn't it?
Huh?
That kind of says something bad about the movie, doesn't it?
No, it's literally my timing because the thing is, it's a couple of next movies I'm about to name: Midsummer and
I can't fuck with Midsummer.
Hereditary. Took me a
Oof.
couple of tries to
But see, that
actually
is not my
finish just
flavor.
because of the time of night that I tried to watch it while I was already tired as hell, comfy as shit in bed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they took me a couple of run throughs, but by the time I actually got from top to finish and actually finished, I said, "Whoa." I said, "Whoa." So it's like those kind of things, and I'm just like, "Man, look, I'm trying to get those." Like when I first watched Inception, it doesn't fuck you too much. But the thing is that did fuck me that first time I watched Inception. I thought I followed that movie really good,
Can I give you a movie
and then
recommendation
it
that will fuck
ended
your head up?
with his thing still spinning,
Hmm.
and it didn't stop. And I said, "Did I not understand
Let me
anything?"
tell let me tell you, man.
Now, mind you, I'm
People been trying
29
to
now, so
people
like
been
when
trying to
that
figure
first
this
came
out for
out and I
13.
watched it,
People have been trying to figure this out for 15 years, man. You're not alone.
but still, like, exactly.
Let me tell
Like,
you. Can I
is he dreaming?
can I give you a movie
Like,
recommendation for something that'll fuck your head
it's
up?
all a dream.
Have you heard of the movie Megalopolis?
Megalopolis. No, I don't think
Megalopolis
so.
is a movie that came out this year, okay? It's got Adam
Okay.
Driver in it.
Okay.
I'm gonna just spoil the shit out of this movie for you because this movie is
All right.
batshit insane, okay?
All right.
It's directed by Francis Ford Coppola. That's the same guy who made The Godfather, okay? He's a
Okay.
very old man now and he kind of has dementia, I think. Don't quote me on that. But this movie seems like it. Adam
No,
Driver
not
is
if you could see
Adam
through the
Driver
movie that
is
this guy might have dementia.
Adam Driver is this like inventor futurist guy who like is like trying to heal the world with this new mineral that he discovered.
Mm.
And it's in this city called Megalopolis that he is trying to build out of this new material. But there's this bad guy played by Giancarlo Despacito, the bad guy from Breaking Bad.
Okay.
And he's like, I'm the
Which
mayor.
I need to watch Breaking Bad too.
He's like, I'm the mayor of Evil City, and the city is evil, and we're gonna build casinos and do things that are bad for the citizens.
Okay.
And
And fill it with vice.
Adam Driver's like trying to fix it. Also, Adam Driver has the power to stop time, but it doesn't matter, and it's never explained why he can do it.
Okay.
Adam Driver goes to this the city. It takes place in this city called New Rome, and he goes to this place that's like a coliseum, right?
Okay.
Where
Well, you
his
gotta
rich
have a
where his
coliseum in
rich
New Rome.
family all stays.
Okay.
And his rich family is John Voight, Shia LaBeouf, who plays his cousin who sleeps with all of his own sisters, Aubrey Plaza, who marries old man John Voight to steal his money. And they're all like the rich, like Kardashian type family rulers of the city who like rule from behind the scenes. And Adam Driver's like the genius black sheep outsider in the family. And he goes to this coliseum and he gets like blackout fucked up drunk, and it becomes like this weird for like 15 minutes straight. It just becomes this like weird thing where he's running around in his underwear and singing opera, and the camera gets all fucked up, and they reveal that he's sleeping with a pop star on the camera, and it causes like a downfall where it's like a political scandal, and now he's not able to build Megalopolis, and it's like, no, my dreams.
What the fuck?
And Shia LaBeouf, his evil cousin, is the one who like planted this evidence and exposed him or whatever. And he's gonna use Adam Driver's downfall to become Donald Trump and run for mayor of Megalopolis. And from there, the plot just goes absolutely apeshit, where he marries the daughter of the evil mayor guy who hates him, and then they have a baby that they name Sunny Hope. And
That's an interesting name.
and Adam Driver
Yeah, they
gets
need
shot
some
in the
Sunny
face
Hope.
by a child and then remakes his face with the miracle material that he found. And it turns out he made the mineral when he went under the water where his wife crashed and found her dead body, and it was next to the mineral. And then the mineral shaped to like form his dreams. It's my man.
All right. Yeah, that sounds
Honestly, at
hilarious.
this point, I gotta kind of tap out because the movie's insane. And I can't keep up. I can't keep up with explaining to you everything that happens. At one point, a fucking meteor falls on the city.
What?
Yeah, no, I'm not
Like
making this
on
shit up.
Megaopolis or New Rome?
On New Rome,
And it's just like
it
gone.
happens, and then Shia LaBeouf uses it to like manipulate poor people. Um, And then
Why is every why is
at the end of the
everyone
movie, an old man shoots Shia LaBeouf in the asshole with an arrow. Um,
all right?
this
Okay.
movie is all over the fucking place, man.
This
And
fucking
it bombed
sounds
really
like it.
fucking hard. The dude spent $230 million of his own money, like out of pocket, making this movie. I think that's the number. It's over 100 million,
For it to just bomb.
and it bombed really fucking bad. But it's hilarious, and I
It's
saw it in
hilarious, like
theaters.
the movie, or it's hilarious that it bombed,
The movie is hilarious.
or is it both?
It's both. It's
Like
both.
it's like well, I guess we
Zendaya
probably
was
shouldn't
supposed to
laugh
be in
at
this
L,
movie, and
but
she dropped out of it.
that's an L in itself, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You done got
Mm-hmm.
Zendaya, and she was supposed to be in it. Like, come on, y'all dropped
That's
the
your
ball
red
on that.
flag right there.
Quite
She's
frankly.
got a good agent.
Although I will say though, speaking of Zendaya, I'm looking forward to the movie that her and um Tom Holland are supposed to be in together. What?
Aren't they supposed to be in like a Chris Nolan movie?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
that sounds fucking dope.
yes. Them and a Christopher Nolan.
Please give Tom Holland a chance to really act. I know he can do it.
I think
I
this
know he
Christopher
can do
Nolan
it.
chance. I think this Christopher Nolan movie might be the chance
Let me tell
to
you.
do it.
Let me tell you. I feel like Tom Holland's movies get a bad rap because every single one of the Spider-Men has like a mediocre movie in their bunch. Like Spider-Man 3 isn't as good as 1 and 2.
For
Amazing
sure.
Spider-Man 2 is garbage. Far From Home isn't good. But Homecoming is fantastic, and No Way
No
Home
Way
is
Home
good for what it
is
is. Like, you got to
yeah.
appreciate it for what it is.
No matter what,
It's got
honestly.
its flaws, but I mean, it's fucking worth it in the end. Because that movie is low key
And then of
carried
course the
by the fact
Spider
that
Verse,
Tom Holland
the
is good
Spider
in it.
Verse trilogy of what we got so far. I mean, quite frankly,
We
like
don't have a
it's
bad Spider Verse movie yet.
right.
Across the Spider Verse, I feel like gets overrated a little bit because I feel like it's paced a little weird in the first act. Like you take a little long to get to the Spider Society,
I feel that.
and then like
But
by the
but I
time you're
like
there,
it
it
and
doesn't
also
feel like you spend
appreciate
enough
that at the
time
same
there.
time. You know,
Mm.
but that part though, that part,
And then
you
you
don't
don't see
spend
Spot
as
again.
much
You don't
time
see
as
Spot
you.
again after he crushes that one dimension. You don't really see
But
him again
apparently,
for the
he's
rest of the
part of the
movie.
problem for the next movie.
Well, yeah,
Like he's part of
clearly,
the main problem. So
clearly, but like
so I think it
I
works,
feel like they
especially
use
connecting all
the
three of them
movie's
the way
more
that they're
about.
supposed to.
It's weird because they sort of have like a dual protagonist thing going on with him and Gwen in this movie. So I feel like maybe part of it is that Miles' stuff doesn't get flushed out enough because you make so much time for Gwen's arc. You know what I mean? Like the whole beginning of the
I
movie's
definitely feel
dedicated to
that.
her,
I could definitely
and it
feel that
takes you a while to get to Miles, and it feels like the movie has to start twice because of that.
because of it. But at
You
the
have a
same
bit
time, now
because that
think about
sequence
this.
with
Think
Gwen
about
is like
this.
15 minutes,
It
and then you
fits
get
though.
done with that, and then
It
you have a
fits.
Spider-Man intro, and then Miles is
Really
finally
think
doing his
about
own
this
shit.
series though of movies.
Hmm.
They're very comic book like.
Yeah, yeah,
Tell me that doesn't fit a comic,
it does. No, no, I'm not saying
or
it
even like
doesn't
a
work.
manga, or like
I'm not
how
saying it
Naruto
doesn't
works.
work.
Because like, for example, like Dragon Ball Z likes to kind of show us everything that's kind of going on at once, so everything's going along together. We saw that Goku was recovering. Or like we saw for a good example, Goku and Gohan training in the hyperbolic chamber. We saw what was happening outside of the hyperbolic time chamber at the same time. Vegeta and Trunks fighting Cell. We got to see that at the same time and saw that these things were happening concurrently, flopping back in like a meanwhile
I
sense.
feel like having those
Whereas
concurrent plots.
Naruto
I feel like having
hits
those
you with
concurrent
the
plots works better in a series compared to in a movie. But go on.
but like whereas Naruto does it, you don't necessarily get in your first watch through that the Jiraiya and Pain fight and the Itachi and Sasuke fight are happening at the same time.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Even in the manga, it's one thing and then the other. It takes a bit of actually getting through the series to actually, or taking up or picking up on really subtle hints that are placed in there to get that these things are happening at the exact
You
same
see,
time.
but those sort of things are easier to space out and like pace correctly in a series than in like a 2 hour movie because now we gotta wait until like 2026 for this story to get completed. You know
But
what I'm
I
saying?
think
And we're
I'm
just gonna
just
be
saying
sitting in
that
stasis for a while.
I think I can appreciate where they're coming from with like doing that in like a comic type of style like that. where you get this piece and then you go into
Mhm.
something that could possibly be interpreted as actually happening at the same time
I feel
through
like,
the other character's eyes.
what are you more excited for? Tom Holland's Spider-Man 4 or Beyond the Spider-Verse?
Personally, maybe it's like the kid in me or something, but probably Beyond the Spider Verse. I think I might personally be slightly more excited for that. Um, but also I guess that's just because I like one of them may just be a little bit more in production as far as I know.
Yeah.
Even
We're going
though
to get
from
Beyond the Spider-Verse probably before we get
even
Spider-Man
though like I
4.
guess they halted or restarted or whatever the case and scrapped some material or
Yeah,
whatever it is,
I
whatever
don't know
happened with
what
that,
was
I'm
up
not
with
even
that.
sure.
That's crazy.
Right. So I'm like, maybe it's like a bit of that. Uh, I don't know. I feel like the first time I watched Into the Spider Verse with my son was like his major introduction to Spider Man and
Yeah.
how that kind of just holds
Same with
like
Luna.
that place in there. So it's like I don't know. I think for like maybe it's more sentimental reasons and stuff like that too. I don't know that has me probably looking forward a little bit more
Hmm.
to that. I would say
I feel like Into the Spider-Verse is probably the best Spider-Man movie, full stop. Like, I would say that's probably number one. Spider-Man 2, if you ask me on another day, might take that spot.
Spider Man Two is
Spider-Man 2 is pretty
that's
fucking
like
good.
classic. I feel like it's like Spider Man moving
It's the best
forward.
Peter Parker movie, is Spider-Man 2.
Yes, yes, for sure. I think the Sam Raimi trilogy is always gonna even like as a whole with what they like brought to the table is always gonna be kind of like a high bar. Even with like where we were at with like CGI and like the how they were handling some of the scenes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How we've evolved even like further in a way I feel like that's also like
It's aged pretty well, for the record.
exactly. And I think that's a testament to where we were then
Hmm.
and how in some way I think technological advances probably make ah,
Well, I
maybe
think
like
part of the
not as
problem,
lazy but
I
like
think
they
part
go
of the
cutting
modern
corners a little bit too
part
much
of the modern
nowadays.
problem is that everything kind of has that like glossy AI look to it. Like, too
Yeah.
many CGI centric movies look the same. That's the
Hmm.
problem, is like audiences have been trained to recognize it to the point where it's not convincing anymore. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, effects like back in like 2007, people always talk about like Davy Jones and Aslan and stuff as like, why don't effects look like this now? But those movies were just like way above the bar of what was typical then.
Yeah.
And we still get movies like that where the CGI and the effects are above the bar, like Avatar 2 and shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But it's just we see so many effect centric movies that the ones that don't hit that sort of bar are more noticeable. You know what I
Super
mean?
lackluster. Yeah.
Like the Lion King 2019 bothered me a lot because on a technical level, yeah, you made a pretty looking lion, but it's got that uncanny valley thing where I know that what I am looking at is not real and it's not pretty enough to make me distracted from that. I know that the cartoon lions aren't fucking real either, but the colors and the direction of the scene make it so that I can be distracted from that, so that I can suspend my disbelief and get engrossed in it. But in the remake, everything just looks fucking brown and green, and I can't get invested in anything that I'm looking at because everything that I'm looking at looks like a fucking demo reel for the effects people and not a fucking movie. And the fucking little kid Simba is literally on top of the hill, just like, no, with a fucking blank face. And I'm like, where is. It's like I'm just seeing somebody. It's literally like you put an AI generated prompt into one of those machines and it gave me that. That's what it feels like. It's
Wow.
weird because that
That's
technology wasn't even like a known commodity when this movie came out,
that's
but it
true.
feels like that's how they made this fucking movie. Like, Mufasa lion dying real. Like, you type that into a fucking AI simulator thing and it gives you a fucking 30-second clip of real looking lions falling into a CGI pit. I just I
That's
That's how I feel about all these fucking
I
remakes. That's why it bothers me. They all have that AI glossy look to them, like you got a fucking
oh my god.
grok picture on Twitter. I can't.
Look, see, maybe this is why. My this must be like part of my movie taste too, because I feel like with like finding movies like what the A24 studio is producing is like different. There's like
Hmm.
really just like a different kind of feel and vibe to them. There's like a vibe that's like, oh, this is and speaking of like
It's weird
Hereditary and
because
Midsummer, they're like completely
A24
opposite in
is
their
just like
lightings.
they're just like a distributor. So it's not
They
like all those
started as
movies are
just a
made.
distributor.
Yeah, it's not like all those movies are made like in
No, now they
like
are.
under the
They
same
are.
like direction sort of thing. It's not
Well,
it's not
yeah,
like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not like a
yeah.
Marvel Studios
So
where like
yeah,
they have like a central
and
sort of
like
theming.
explanation. So like for instance, like I didn't even realize, but like Spring Breakers that
Yeah.
was distributed by A24, but
Yeah.
wasn't like made by them,
Spring
kind of
Breakers is
deal.
so
So like,
fucking good.
really though. So like it has the look that's like
James
okay,
Franco
oh that
should have
makes
been
sense.
nominated for an Oscar for Spring Breakers, let's be real.
Like
He is
well like
so
it
damn
makes
good in that
sense.
movie.
And then it's like when you come in and you're like watching like the titles I was talking about earlier, it's like okay, wait, like there's still like a feel that's still similar. So it's like they even when they weren't making the movies, they had such an eye for what they wanted. I didn't realize that Uncut Gems was an A24 film, and it's
I
like
didn't
it
until you just
makes
said
sense.
that.
It
I didn't.
makes sense. Think about the lighting and the trippiness of how each scene it really fits for a character every time you see them on screen and things like that. That's stuff that they do that just really and almost like immerses you into the movie
Hmm.
itself, you know? And with each character, there's almost like how Avatar, The Last Airbender, has like motifs that play like, audible motifs that each character has their own theme that plays
Hmm.
every time they hop on screen. It's almost
Yeah.
like that. Something happens like with an effect in the lighting each time a certain character will come on screen, and you're just like, oh, or like the lighting itself does an effect
The two
that
most
sets
under
what's
the
happening.
two most underrated aspects of like visual art are like lighting and sound design actually, because when you're
Yes.
making like a show or a movie, so much goes into sound design in terms of like adding music, when not to have music, when to
The
have complete
folly.
silence,
Yeah.
when to just focus in on like words, when to
Building
have
in that suspense
yeah.
and exactly,
When
yeah.
I was in digital media and stuff, that was like the main thing that I was like interested in, was like sound design,
Hmm.
because that really can make or break a scene. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then like when it comes to lighting, like when me and you saw like Childish Gambino live, for instance, you've seen that like lights make
Yes.
or make a
Yes.
fucking live performance. You
Yes.
know what I mean? That
Gotta
was
see
definitely
the
a
cat.
cat. That was definitely a cat. I have three cats in my house, by the way.
Going to assume.
Donald, Bruce, and Stella.
Man.
They're my moms, but they're staying with me.
Hey, you.
They're
Hey, you.
they're noisy and they're fat.
We can't be mean to the
I'm more
furries.
I'm more of a cat person than a dog person, to be fair.
I think I'm like kind of even, but like I haven't had a dog in a while now. It feels like,
I
and
had a
like
dog when I
I
was a kid until I was like 14, and he was a good dog, but he was a fucking idiot. He would like dig under the fence and then just go running for like a mile. He would eat whatever he could get his fucking jaws on. He ate a whole turkey that was still wrapped in plastic and
oh
uncooked.
no,
He ate a whole
no, you
bag of
can't be that
cocoa
desperate,
pebbles.
doggy.
He ate a whole bag of cocoa pebbles, and we thought he was gonna die. Um, he ate a whole loaf of
Isn't the
bread
chocolate
with the fucking
artificial?
plastic still on
Is
it.
that probably like the only thing that saved him? Is
Yeah,
like it was
yeah, it was
artificial
no real
chocolate.
chocolate in it, apparently. Let it be known there is no real chocolate in Cocoa Pebbles, apparently. Because my dog was fine. Because my dog
He probably didn't have the runs at all.
lived for years after that. Lived.
Oh my god, that's so
R.I.P.
funny.
Max.
Damn.
No, he was a good boy. He was just
Rip,
dumb as
rip.
fuck. He's-
Damn.
But no, now I've got three cats. And honestly, cats mind their own business. That's kind of why I like them. They're low
Nah, they're
maintenance.
dope. They're dope.
I wouldn't
One
want
of
like
my
a
kitties
reptile.
got out. I've got two cats, and
Ah,
yeah, one of them got out, and it's really sad. Like usually our cats only really like come outside like with us and kind of just stay with us and chill,
mm-hmm.
and that's how they get their fresh air. Like they're not like indoor slash outdoor cats.
Yeah,
So like when they go out, usually we got an eye on them, and Lily, the one that's missing, she's about a year and a half now. So like
yeah.
we've had her since she was only a couple of months old. And so like she's like the younger one out of the two, and she's always been like more on edge. Um, she's like very skitsy, scares kind of
Mhm.
easily, but she's like hyper when and I mean she's such a good cat and everything too. Like when like you know what I mean? Like when she's comfortable around like her people, you know?
Yeah.
And otherwise it's like when she's outside, we will like keep the door cracked because like she'll hear one slight sound and just to go straight back inside. Like
Mm.
she needs to have easy access to get back in there. But she also has this very bad habit of being like desperate to get outside too when like
Yeah.
we're not trying to go outside. So like she knows how to open the door herself
Mhm.
and she will do it. So like we could usually have to like do extra measures to make sure like and you know keep
Mhm.
a deadbolt on and everything like that, make sure she's not getting out the door. But like because of her habit of like just kind of being desperate, she also likes to try to sneak out of the door
Yeah.
almost every time that I open it to go in or out.
Mhm.
Most times I'm able to like catch her because in most cases she literally just goes right outside of the door, throws herself down and rolls around like a dog in
Mhm.
the grass or something, you know? That's all she really wants to do. But like in some cases, it's like I said, she's very skitsy and scares easily. Say I don't notice her,
Mhm.
slip out, I close the door. Well, the door's closed all the way, not really cracked for her to get back in there. And if something scares her, she might try one quick time and then just dart off
Mhm.
because they're not indoor outdoor, they're not just going to find their way right back to the
Yeah.
door. So she's been out once before, and the last time she was out, it took 10 full days before like finding her
Fuck.
again. And so far, it's we're transferring over into Wednesday. She's been gone. She got out like Saturday night.
Man,
Yeah,
I'm
and
sorry, dude.
I've been outside just like for hours
You see,
on
my
end looking
cats
for
like
her, and I'm
the
just
two
hoping
the
that it
two girl
doesn't find
cats. The two girl cats, Bruce and Stella.
her.
They're indoor cats. Like they were born on a farm together. They're sisters. They've never been separated. And they have gone like out back at my mom's house before, been outside here and there, but they're
Mm-hmm.
indoor cats.
So
Donald,
they just stay to
meanwhile,
like their what they
Donald,
feel as their
meanwhile,
territory.
I don't even know how old Donald is. He's this orange tabby who pulled up on our back porch one day with another pregnant cat with him.
That is so funny.
That cat gave birth in the basement and then died. And then we put
Damn.
the kittens in a, like, gave them to a shelter or something. I don't remember what my mom did with them exactly. But we
Damn.
kept Donald because Donald was chill. I don't know if those kittens were his or not, but he was
But
chilling
he
with this.
was
He
walking
was
with the
chilling with
mama
this
till
pregnant
death.
lady. Like that was his ride or die, and she died.
Damn.
And now he's been our cat for years, and I was the one who found him out there, out back. So I've been the dude who's been with him since the beginning, and now
Damn.
he's
That's
chilling with me.
crazy.
But he used to be a stray. He used to be an outside cat. So he still like is lurking, like looking outside all the time, just like that used to be my spot. But I can't let him outside because there's dogs all over my street. There's like
Yeah.
pit bull next door. Like that dog would just, rip him to smithereens. I ain't gonna let it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
gotta keep my boy safe.
trying to get the furry back. And I also know too, cause like Rosie, the older cat, we like part of the reason we got a second cat was because anytime like we'd leave,
Mhm.
like she definitely didn't like necessarily being alone. You know what I mean? And we could tell
Mhm.
that. And she got to a point where it's like due to what anything that we looked up, she was like losing her hair, like back towards her hair, back
Mhm.
towards her tail, and anything we looked up seemed like it was mostly signs of anxiety
Mhm.
because like she just really didn't like being left alone. You know, after we got Lily, which at this point, Rosie had probably just turned about a year old. Yeah, she's about exactly just the something that's funny is their like take home days
Mhm.
are exactly the same day.
Wow.
Yeah, not even on purpose. So like, and that's funny. But like, yeah, and they're like about a year and a half apart. We got Rosie when she was about what we estimated to be about 6 months. So
Okay.
she was still like a pretty small kid, and we've had her this whole time. And then Lily, like I said, she was literally about like 8ish, 9 weeks old.
Wow.
Yeah, and yeah. So and now she's about a year and a half. I would say. So nah, like as soon as we got Lily, the hair that was like being lost on the back of Rosie, like
Mhm.
almost immediately came back, like less than a month. She
Oh yeah,
even
having a
thicker than it was before.
having a buddy that
Like you would
speaks their
never tell.
language will do wonders.
It's crazy.
Mm,
And so like they just been like inseparable since. And when Lily was gone for that 10 days, you saw the change in Rosie. Like,
mm.
cause she's the more chill cat naturally. And then, like I said, Lily's just hyper. She's hyperactive. She's what gets Rosie moving. Like with them
Your
playing and
cat and
everything.
my
Like
sister
they
have the
need it.
same name.
They need it. So it's like trying to get her little buddy too. You know, it's
Yeah.
not just like not just for like me and
Oh
like the
yeah,
rest of
she's
the
got.
fam. It's
Oh yeah,
also
she's
like for her
probably
and her
like.
buddy because it's like she's gonna start losing her fucking hair again soon.
Mm-hmm.
Like we made a point to not
Gonna be
even like
extra
leave
sad.
as a whole unit once Lily was gone that 10 days, just because we knew like
Mm-hmm.
Rosie ain't gonna like being here all by herself. Like we even like made a point. So I don't know. I'm on the I'm on the hunt looking.
No, yeah, but we love to take care of our pets, man.
Hmm.
That's tough. That's like losing a family member.
It is. It's like a void that you can't just replace. You
Cat shaped hole in your heart.
know? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a kitty shaped
Meh.
fucking like spot in a door in this picture like earlier, I think it was, and it was funny because like in the post or whatever, you see like an upside down kitty hole
Mm-hmm.
up at the top of the door, and I guess the husband had fucked up the first time, so it was like an upside down cat up here and like a cat shape down here, and then like yeah, as you can see, they messed up the first time and did it
Mm-hmm.
wrong. Oh man, and
That'd
it
be
was
how I'd
funny.
end up doing it.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was so funny, but nah, uh,
Nah.
were we supposed to talk about some Daima?
I do think we could circle back around to Daima.
Man,
I'll
where do
tell
you
you
want to
what.
start? Because um, I've been watching on Crunchyroll. Well, that
You are an episode ahead of me.
and I've got an app that in case my Crunchyroll ain't active, I can hit that bitch for the free. Um, so like I'm there, and in what day? See, we almost got a new episode coming on Wednesday, and then you're finally going to be caught up. Might
Mm-hmm.
see,
You see, here's
might
my
have to
thing with Daima.
get away for you to.
I'm one of those guys that when it was announced, I was disappointed because
I'm right
I
there with
wanted
you.
Super to come back really really bad,
Hmm.
and I felt like going off on a different tangent was just going to make it another years long ordeal before we get around to getting Super animated,
Hmm.
which is looking like it's gonna be anyway. But taking
But
Daima for what it is,
and
it's a
also
lot of fun.
I will say too because the announcement came before like while Toriyama was still alive.
Yeah,
So there's that aspect.
that kind of
Um
changed things.
yeah. Cuz I will say once Toriyama passed, I was instantly looking forward to Daima way more than I ever had been before because I knew that this was going to be like the last like full this is Toriyama thing.
Yeah, this
You know
is
what I mean?
the
So
last
it
thing that we're going to be getting
really
from him.
made me just like, nah, I'm hyped for this. You
Which
know?
makes me wonder, like, we've got a lot of unresolved threads from Super, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
the other universes that we never saw, Zalama and the whole connection to the Super Dragon Balls. There's like unanswered questions, and I wonder, did
Yes.
Toriyama ever give Toyotaro guidance on where those things were supposed to go, or is
Or is
Toyotaro just gonna
Daima
have to make
supposed to
some
be
shit up now?
or is Daima supposed to be what
Well,
helps
Daima's
connect them?
definitely answering some
Because
questions, like the
let,
Namekians and the demon
let's
lore and shit.
that they're already establishing that there's multiple universes before hearing that in Battle of Z.
Battle of Gods. Battle of Z was the
Battle of Z is
PS3
the
game.
game. Battle of Gods, yes. But so like there's that aspect that I noted that I didn't necessarily realize too that the first time they were talking about getting to Earth, they had to specify what universe they were going to and everything like that.
Yeah.
They already established that, and then because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't saying something prematurely, but you being on episode 5, I also think that they used the talk of the universe
They
then
did.
too. So
I just chalked that up to Goku not paying attention.
possibly, but at the same
Just
time,
easy to
I
wave
like
away.
that it's there. I like that from the guidebooks we got information on the Kais and that was expanded on and now it's put in a canon form into the
I
media.
feel like before we get in the weeds of all of that stuff, we need to backtrack and just talk about like the story from the beginning and like our reactions from the start because we haven't covered
Okay.
that ground yet.
Well,
Like before
then
we end up
to
having to circle
backtrack a
around.
little bit before I go into like Kai's history and things like that, because like just like going with like still
Because like I
on that
felt like
loose
the.
ends tip though,
Mm,
it's something like that because before that's not like it's information that we ever knew.
yeah.
Like, yeah, we learned in Super that there's a god of destruction and that their life is tied to whoever their supreme Kai is and things like that. However, what is this race of people? But like, I want to circle back to when we talk about like what the race of like what Kais are that we've seen so far and things like that. Because
Hmm.
like that's definitely like an interesting point that I thought was like super cool. This conversation was that in episode 5?
Yeah.
Okay, about their race and everything like that. Cool. I just want to make sure because I want to make sure that I'm not talking about episode 6 things, and I was just making sure that was still in that episode. Cool. Because man.
I'm talking about just like in
But
reactions to
when
the
we go
show
back,
and
yeah.
in real
So
time. I feel like my take on like my early reactions. It's the most beautiful Dragon Ball's ever fucking looked. First of all,
ever,
but
we did not deserve it.
besides that, I did feel like the pacing of the first like 2 or 3 episodes was a little slow, just because it felt like it was weird. The first episode doesn't focus on Goku and the gang at all. It's like all exposition where Goma's reacting to things that we, the audience, already know.
Which
And then
feels
episode two,
that makes their decision to do just episodes 1, 2, and 3 as the English dub premiere in
yeah.
theaters kind of like
You see, but
strange. They
episode
should have
you
included 4 or even possibly
yeah,
5.
like you don't get to the demon realm until like episode three, and it feels like those first two could have been condensed into one if they had just trimmed the fat a little bit
Even
on
though
the
I like
exposition.
it because I appreciate that you realize like for the recap parts, they didn't just like reanimate or even upscale or anything like that the original animations.
Yeah,
They made brand new animations
that
more
are like
closely
complete
resembling
manga
the mangas.
recreations. Yeah.
Yes. They put in even more work on that and then still give it that classic DBZ feel while being updated graphics. Because you
Mm-hmm.
notice as soon as it goes out of the screen and you see Goma and everything, it's now like our current graphics. It
Yeah.
looked different during that recap, but it was still upgraded, but still felt like classic DBZ.
Mm-hmm.
That was cold.
Mm-hmm.
We did not deserve things like that at all. And so it's like even just to see that and that's an extra mile thing. That's extra effort. That's extra icing on the cake. That's the cherry that wasn't needed.
I think that when we
And
talk
it's something that I
I think
appreciate.
that when we talk about what this series is, though, once you get into like episode four and it's
But
like the story's actually going, it's very
I'm
clear
liking
that
it.
what Toriyama wanted is he just wanted to go on an adventure with Goku.
I
And
think
I think
so.
that it's
I
so
think
awesome that
he
the place his mind was at that point was just I just want to bring it back to basics. I just
and
want to have a fun adventure with my boy.
explore and again kind of like opening up a little bit of like those
And
loose
he
ends
answered
or like
some
some
loose end
lore
questions and stuff.
things
We've
like that.
known Deborah was the king of the demon realm for like fucking 15, 20 years. And,
What?
we never got any expansion on what the fuck that meant until now.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. And I'm digging that because I mean, according to Glorio, he was a good king.
Which is funny because now he's in heaven.
And it's like, what was he like without the Majin
Yeah, was it just Bob?
takeover?
Was it just Bobbity making him trip?
Right, because I mean, we know he's obviously not. At least he's not a Majin. At least from what it seems
Well,
to
they're all
have been.
Majins,
Yeah,
technically.
there are. Well, he's taken
Majin just
over,
means demon person.
but they're not all Majin.
Ma means demon.
Okay,
Jin is
but the thing
person.
is, the Kais, the Shins, they're not Majins. They're a different race too. They're a
Yeah.
completely different race, but they come from the demon realm.
I don't know.
So
You'd have to ask like a Japanese person about the kanji there.
I mean, perhaps, but I mean, like, but really thinking about that though, because if they're Glens, and not Majin. And then think about what he says when he confirms. Think about what Shin says when he confirms to Glorio about him being a Majin.
Well, that's
He
kind of
says
changed. That's kind of changed
that's
our
that's
definition of old things because now we know that Majin Vegeta just means demon Vegeta, like
exactly.
demon
But he
possessed
was
Vegeta,
only
like de.
possessed by the magic of a Majin.
Yeah,
We know that they have like
and the
different
Kais,
different
because of the
abilities
pointy
and things
ears,
of that.
they derive from the demon realm too,
And
apparently.
from that,
Which is
but
kind of a
that
retcon
doesn't
of shit we used to know, but like Toriyama does that.
it's just in a way I find it I see it as expanding. Think about it, because yeah, he makes things up kind of on the go and kind of is forgetful, but at the same time, I think that he's not as forgetful as we make it out to be, but he's also a little bit more forgetful than some people may think, but not as forgetful as people think too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So, like when you put these together, I think he was able to know one. I'm going to touch on this too. I think what made his passing and the timing of his passing so sad and even more heartbreaking, especially to Torotaro,
hmm
is that, and we've talked about this before. We got
yeah.
into podcast basis. Is that it seems like there's a lot of evidence that points towards the fact that Toriyama was officially getting ready to pass the torch
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like
while still
Toyotaro
living.
was ready. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it seems like we were
He
to
had
that point.
progressively been starting to get more trust in the story building, and Granola Art
And
kind
we
of
have to
felt
think
like his
about how much
baby.
work he did on Super, exactly, and things of that nature. I think Toriyama going ahead and making all of Daima to be a send off. There was
It's weird
that.
the timing of it, considering like the last panel that he worked on was Piccolo waving away and shit.
There's that. I think it was already like
Very
drawn and
poignant.
planned and was supposed to be a thing. It was supposed to be a little sign. You know what I
hmm
mean? That send off, and I think going back into kind of like really appreciating Daima is that this is that last like full love letter, and I think it's supposed to kind of be that blueprint to Torotaro in a way
It's also
that's like
nice that we get this right
sticking with
now
it.
because like Toyotaro's in a weird place with it because the rights for Dragon Ball are like being fought over legally right now, and the story is in a place where like he's in control of where to take it right now. He's got like a blank canvas because the next arc wasn't set in stone or anything, you know? And it makes it so that whatever he comes up with is going to be scrutinized really, really heavily. Like, no
Yeah,
matter what he makes, there's going to be a sect of fans who are like, oh, this isn't what Toriyama would do, no matter what he does. You know what I mean? And I
yeah,
think he needs to be
yeah.
ready to deal with that.
And
And
personally,
that's like what Toriyama always did was whatever the fuck he wanted to do. Like he
mhm,
said, "Fuck it, Bulma's with Vegeta now. Yamcha cheated on her, and he didn't give a fuck what anyone thought about it. He said,
I
"Fuck it,
think,
Goku's an alien now. He's always been an alien. Piccolo's an
and the
alien
thing
too.
is, like,
Piccolo."
too, is it's just like I
He
think,
said, "Fuck it, Vegeta's evil again. Vegeta's evil again."
I think though, that we need, because we also know that there's a finite amount of time before that next tournament. It's basically what we're waiting for now for
Yeah,
to hit end of Z. Um,
there are
based off of
there's a
Pan's
couple
age,
things
we've
that
got like literally about a year, less than
there's
a year and a half,
got
something
to be
around there.
crossed off.
That
There's
we had
Black Frieza.
hmm
There's the end of Z tournament, and we
hmm
were promised another tournament of power, and we were also promised Universe 6.
so,
So those are things that we need crossed off the list before they
but
can end Dragon Ball Super.
and the thing is, we can hit all of that too in that time frame.
Yeah.
Some things don't
You could
have to
cross over the Black
last so
Frieza
long.
shit and the Universe 6 shit. That could all take
Very
place in one
easily.
arc.
Yeah, exactly. And also, some things don't have to necessarily be super long. Because it's like when you think about it, how long were Goku and Vegeta on the cereal planet? That shit was like half
That
a day
shit
for
took an
them. Not even.
afternoon. That shit took
Exactly. That was an afternoon. And
Res F is an afternoon. Res
going into actually what we were
Actually,
discussing
wait a
earlier,
minute.
because wasn't that
Besides
happening?
Goku
That
Black,
was technically happening at the same time as the superhero
besides
stuff
Goku
with
Black, every arc in Super
Beast
takes
Gohan.
place over the course of like a day. Besides Goku Black, every arc in Super takes place over the course of like one day.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
and it's
crazy.
like I think though too, like I was saying though, it's like they picked up hints to make things happen at the same time that you don't realize are happening at the same time.
Yeah.
The subtle hints. Like if you listen to the Oracle Fish, that's kind of how you can kind of start placing like, wait a second. And then like how they recall the events later on in the manga and things like that. Like these happen at the same time,
Hmm.
you know? And you don't get that
It's kind
because
of
that's not how we
interesting.
got the story. But they're happening coincide each other.
It's kind
So
of
like that's
interesting because
super cool.
you see a lot of people who hate on Dragon Ball Super. It's kind of like people forget how awesome it was just having Dragon Ball content coming out every week.
Literally.
Like, it
Literally.
wasn't perfect. There were weeks where it dragged. No one likes Ribrianne. I get it. But the arc, but it was nice having something Dragon Ball related to look forward to all the time. And
All
when
the
Goku
time.
Black was coming out, the fandom was engaged. When the
Hmm.
Tournament of Power was coming
God,
out, the
man, were
fandom
we?
was engaged.
Were we?
You know what I'm saying? Once you get past Battle of Gods and Res F arc, Super is not that bad.
I
I'm
swear.
telling you
And
guys.
honestly, though, think
You
about it
wanna
though,
you wanna
because
get through
going
some
back to,
sludge? Watch fucking GT. All right.
and I think GT is not even that bad. But going back a little bit though, what arc is technically the longest? Now, I guess we got the cell
Tournament of
slash
Power.
android arc. No, it's not.
Tournament of Power takes a. Oh, not in Super. Well, in Super, that's the longest one.
I'm let's
I thought
here.
you were asking about Super.
Well, technically, when do we start? All right, so here, let's see. We've got um Battle of Gods. That's pretty quick. That's within the day. That's like kind of,
Yeah.
we could say, from fucking late breakfast to early afternoon kind of a deal for Battle of Gods.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Rezef, you can say about the
That's
same
like
thing,
6 months later.
right? But we're not gonna count if there's a time skip that's in between the arcs. We
Yeah.
probably aren't gonna count it. But
Yeah.
there's gonna be a special case that's something like that that I feel, which is why I want to distinct this. I feel like there's a
Mm-hmm.
special case of something like that that comes up
Mm-hmm.
in one of these upcoming arcs. If we're just talking super, so then after after we hit that, we have the Universe 6 vs 7 tournament, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now that's when we meet Hit
Botamo,
and
Kabe,
everything like that. So when we come
Frost.
here, this is not too much time later. I want to say, yeah, it's not too much time later. I'm wanting to think like mere months, even weeks, even.
Yeah.
It's really kind of hard and this is part of what I mean too, with like
Could
the
literally be days later for all you know.
literally with filling in that rest of that time gap that we have, where some of the arcs in their story don't necessarily, because like we just said, Resurrection of Frieza, that's like could easily just be a few hours of all of that. And then things get a little bit different when you get into like the manga post Tournament of Power as well. But like we'll get there too. So like the Tournament of Destroyers was,
We
mm,
know that there has to be a significant time skip between
well,
Tournament of Power and Superhero. We don't know how much
well,
time
the thing is,
passes.
we don't necessarily need to be. Well,
Pan
here
is
we'll
still a
get
Pan
there,
is still a baby in Tournament of Power.
right? But then we've got our next thing of media is the Broly movie, which all we got to do is see if there's some sort of panel around that time or anything like that. Like it kind of gets touched on right there. So if we see Pan anywhere in like the Galactic Controller arc or something,
You do not.
you don't see her anywhere in there either.
Nope.
So we really don't see her until Superhero, that we know is basically happening at the same time as them being on Serial, or that we're able to presume happens about the same time as Superhero or Serial,
Yes.
Planet Serial.
Granola Arc and Superhero take place at the same time.
So
And Granola
I'm
Arc is.
well here. Wait. Let's go back to
Mm-hmm.
spacing some of these
Mm-hmm.
and like how long they might last. So Tournament of Destroyers, there's not really much of a prep going into that tournament. It kind of just happens because of the meeting Champa and
Mm-hmm.
him and Beerus kind of getting into it and wanting to have a contest. The filler that we get as the baseball game and shit like that
Mm.
leads us into
Super
the
had really good
actual.
fillers, by the way.
Yeah, I would say the filler was pretty good, but that leads us into that destroyer tournament. Now, couldn't have lasted too much time for real. You know what I mean? Now, lengthy in some kind of way, if you're looking at it, maybe, but like at most, still like kind of a few hour event. Now, after that, we have the
Goku
Goku
Black,
Black in the future
which
slash future
lasts
Trunks
which
arc.
lasts a couple of days.
Yeah.
For
To
Vegeta,
the
it's like 2 years because he goes into the fucking
into the
time chamber.
hyperbolic time chamber and trains in between, and then I mean for Trunks in a way, I mean, yeah, and going back and forth, however
Which,
that
what are
probably
you
feels
doing
to
in the
them.
time chamber by yourself? Are you just in there doing push-ups? Are you
I don't
like
know, but he destroyed that bitch on
flying
the
in a
way out that last
flying in
time.
a
So I mean,
circle? Like,
he was
how do
doing
you work
something.
out by yourself in there with like no equipment and like
I mean, Goku did it during training for the 23rd World Tournament. So I mean,
he didn't go in the time chamber for that.
yeah, he was in there for 3 months. He
Well, I
only
guess
lasted three
yeah.
months.
Yeah, you're right. Fuck.
He
I
lasted
totally
three
forgot about
months.
that. I totally
But
forgot about that.
um, all right, so yeah, and it makes sense for it to be a couple of days for that arc. Now, part of where the thing comes in is like now we have as soon as that arc is done, the only way that we know how much time passed between I guess during that arc.
Can I simplify this for you?
Well, wait. Because Goku says it's been about a year. The
Mm-hmm.
next time he sees Hit in the filler, when
Mm-hmm.
he hires Hit to kill himself,
Yeah.
he says it's been about a year since they fought.
Okay.
And that he's gotten a lot stronger due to fighting Black
So that would
and
be between.
Zamasu and them.
That would be after Goku Black.
Yes.
Okay, so
And
there's a
so
year in between there and
we know
Tournament of
that
Power.
from no. We know that from uh the Destroyer tournament to getting ready for Tournament of Power takes a year.
Okay. Okay.
So that means there's definitely some sort of dead space that we jump before the Goku Black stuff happens, or either that immediately
Can I
happened and
extrapolate
now
a little
there's
bit?
time in between. You
Can
know
I
what I mean?
extrapolate a little bit? This is one of the things that is really good about Dragon Ball is we have seen Goku grow up from a kid when he was like 12 years old to now he's like 50 and a grandfather.
Well,
Like
by end of
we don't.
Z,
Yeah,
he's like
yeah, yeah,
49, 50.
yeah. But we don't. But we
Currently,
don't.
though, I guess in Super, he's like
He has to be
what, like
close to 60.
40? No. Currently in Super, because you got to think of where we are timeline wise. He's not going to be older at all than end of Z Goku. We're still in between there. I did the
Well,
math on it
hold on.
too
Let me
because
hold on.
when
Let me
we
break. Let me
start
break the.
Dragon Ball Z, he's 22. No,
Okay, yeah, and then
18 plus 5 years. He's 23.
and then like 4 years pass in the android arc, so then he's like 28. And then 10 years pass after he dies in the Cell games. So that would make him 38, but he's biologically still 28.
Not 10 years. It's just a,
7 years. 7 years.
it's
It's seven
just
years.
under
It's
7, but it's
seven
rounded up
years.
to 7 because it's technically like 6 years and like 10, 11
Okay.
months because when you're
Point
able to
being,
mark that
point
by
being,
Gohan's birthday.
point being, we've seen him go from a little kid to a grown man with a
To a man
grandkid.
right now in his 40s.
Yeah, and
In Daima, he's
other
technically in his
series don't
30s
really give you that.
ish, end of
Like the
30s.
something that's weird is the entirety of One Piece. It's over 1,000 chapters. Do you know that Luffy has only been in on
No,
his
maybe
adventure?
early 40s.
Luffy has only been on his adventure in universe for 2.5 years.
That is fucking crazy. I
Yeah,
mean, think about our
he went from being
20
17
years
to
we spent
being
with
19.
Ash and him
He went from being
being 10 years
17 to
old the
being
whole time.
19.
That's crazy.
Yeah, with
Which is
Ash,
really weird. It
I
doesn't
can't
make
even.
sense because everyone
It
around him
literally
grew up.
doesn't make sense. It
Everyone
literally
else around
doesn't
him.
make
You
any
notice that
sense.
Gary got older.
It's
Misty
bullshit.
seems like she got older.
It's bullshit. I hate it. It's
May
bull.
seems like she got a
He
little
lives
older.
under Simpsons
Dawn
rules.
seems like she got older.
He lives under Simpsons rules. He just stays 10
Brock
forever
seems like he got a
Like
little
Bart
older and
Simpson is
mature.
10 years for old
Why did
forever.
everyone around him age but him?
You see, but like,
That's
and
weird.
then you look at Naruto. Like Naruto, if you don't count Boruto, okay, the entire story of Naruto is only about
That's
3 years. It's only about 3 years,
Yeah,
the entire story
yeah.
of Naruto, because in the beginning of the story, he is, what is it, 13 years old?
13 or
He's,
14?
yes, wait. No, he's
He's
14 years
14
old.
because he's already tried to go through the academy. He's older than Sasuke and Sakura.
He, no, he's not. No, he's not. If you look at
He's
his
the.
ninja info cards and
Oh
shit,
my god,
they're
yeah.
the same age.
Which
They're
is
the
like
same.
funny
It
because he's
makes no
failed.
sense.
That
It
doesn't make
makes no
sense.
sense. It's a plot
Exactly.
hole.
He's failed multiple times. Like he
Yeah.
should be technically like the super senior of his
But yeah,
class,
then like
of his
there's
academy
then
class.
yet there's a 2 year then there's a 2 year time skip after the OG series, which only takes place over the course of about 9 months. Him and Sasuke were only in Team Seven together for 9 months. In my opinion, that's a
We
problem
know,
with the story. In my opinion, they should have been teammates for a longer stretch of time than that.
but the
They
thing
should.
is though too, the first like big mission because we also have to keep in mind that we technically don't know exactly how many like small bullshit missions they actually did together.
Yeah.
That's
The
a
only
lot of
one we
bonding
see
time.
is the only one we see is the Land of Waves.
Right. When we know for a fact they had to do some bullshit
Exactly.
missions as a team to even be able to
That's
leave the
kind of
village
because
and do those
Kishimoto's
kind of
editors
things.
pressured him to like move the story along faster, and that's why he did the tuning exams faster than he wanted to.
So it's like
He wanted to establish
we
those
really only
tuning
saw like
exams
kind of filler of
characters.
their kind of bullshit shit before that,
He
but like
wanted to
it's not
establish
like a
those
full.
tuning exams characters in smaller arcs leading up to it. Like he was going to have a mission where they ran into Shikamaru's team, and a
Which would
mission where
have
they ran
been,
into
I
Rock
think that would
Lee's
have been dope.
team.
But taking
But
it
that
for
would have
like what
dragged
we
the
do
series
have,
out a lot more, and I think
mhm,
getting to the tuning exams faster is ultimately a better idea.
which is true too. But
Point
yeah,
being though,
going
it's
with like what
weird
we have
because the
though,
whole series you only see Naruto go from like 15 to 18,
yeah,
14 to 18
yeah, because
basically.
literally the when he's talking to his dad at the end of the fourth
It's
Ninja
his
War, he literally
birthday.
it's his birthday, his 16th birthday.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
literally
exactly.
turns 16 that
Yeah, like three
like as the
years.
sun's coming up. It's
Like
his birthday.
three
When he
years
goes to
exactly is
fight
the
to the
plot of
death with
Naruto and Naruto
Sasuke,
Shippuden.
it's his birthday. That's what he's
Yeah,
doing for his birthday. Is fighting for his
yeah.
best friend to come back
Yeah,
home.
these guys ain't got shit on Goku's character development
Like
if you actually look at it, because
that's
Goku has gone through an entire lifetime of development. You know what I'm saying?
that shit right there is crazy. But yeah, uh fucking back with like the Dragon Ball timeline though. So it's like a lot of these things don't like last more than much time at
It's
all though.
easy to divide with OG Dragon Ball because there's a tournament bookmarking everything, and those always take place 3 to 5 years.
I think originally it was like 4 years or some shit
Well,
like that, but then it
at
got
first he
changed to
said
three.
five,
Yeah,
and then he was
5.
like, "Oh, now they do it 3 years." Because
Yeah,
Toriyama changed
yeah.
his mind. So
But
he's 12, then he's 15, then he's 18. Then
hmm
there's a time skip, and Gohan's 4 at the start of Z, so you can say he's
so that
21,
we
22.
yeah, and then that gives us
And then a
the
year goes
info
by,
that
he's 20.
Goku is 19 years older than about because we don't well yeah we do know their birthday, so I guess if we actually look
He
into do the
probably
math,
impregnated
he's
Chi Chi right
19.
away. Let's get it
Right,
straight.
let's get
Chi
real.
Chi was probably
Like
like, "All right, chop chop, let's get to it.
so then
I'm trying to
we
be a
got 4 years
housewife."
later, uh he meets his brother while he's 23, 24 ish,
Kills him.
literally dies the
A
first
years
time,
go
gives his
by.
life.
A year goes by.
But his body's still the same age because he doesn't age while he's dead.
We're not counting that. I'm gonna age him
But
normally. I'm gonna age.
but then what about hyperbolic time chamber? Because in all
I'm
of
gonna
them
count that.
Evangelion.
He aged. I'm gonna count that.
See, and that's what makes Gohan's age
So let's say,
confusing for
hold on,
cell games
because we
for
want to keep
people.
tracking
It's that
this. We
very
want to
thing.
keep tracking this. Okay, so at the end of the Saiyan saga, he's about 24. Frieza
Yeah, yeah,
saga.
yeah, yeah.
Frieza saga
So
is
yeah,
just a
we're
couple
gonna do
weeks
the
later.
19,
Frieza
or we'll
saga
do
is
the
just a.
18. We'll do 18 plus the 5 to set the 23,
Now he's
and
24.
then the
Then
year
a
dead,
year goes by
him
till Trunks
fighting. So yeah,
shows up.
24.
So
Well, wait.
25.
We got to go to Namek. We know that
Not a year goes by there, so we're
we
good.
were aware of that, but we still want to give a little bit of concept of time though, because we are aware that
It's
it
just a
takes
couple
Bulma,
weeks. It's just a couple weeks.
not overall. How long does it take Bulma, Krillin, and Gohan to get to Namek? It took them
Like 3 months.
exactly. That's a quarter of a year. We have to kind of keep that in mind,
Yeah.
right? Well, just think about it. Just keep this in mind.
He's 25 when Trunks shows up. He's.
We're done. We're gonna wait a second because what if we also kind of age Gohan a little? Fuck it, I guess. Whatever. All right. So look.
Then 3 years pass, then he's 28 when the
Yeah, because by the
androids
way,
show up.
it only took Goku like 6 days to get to Namek, and then he's only on Namek
for like a day.
12 hours to
For like a
maybe
day.
18 to 24 at max.
Then a year in the
They
time
have three
chamber.
sons,
Then
so
a
it never
year in the
got dark.
time chamber. Now he's 29.
Wait. Wait. Yeah, so 24, 25 when he meets Trunks, we just said.
Yeah. Then 3 years,
Boom.
28.
They trained for
Time
3 years.
chamber,
So, boom.
29.
Hits the time chamber. He is physically 29 years old when he goes up against Cell in the Cell games.
Yes, and
That's
then
where we're at.
7 years in heaven. Now he's 36. Biologically 29.
So, wait, now we're not counting.
Oh wait.
Wait a second.
Actually,
So
here's
wait,
the deal.
are we counting dead or not then?
I'm counting both. He's 36 literally. He is 28 biologically. Okay?
All right. And this is because this mofo has
Then a
sacrificed
year
himself.
happens between Boo Saga and Battle of Gods. Now he's 37 slash 29. 37 slash 29.
Wait, okay.
So he is 37 at the start of Super.
Wait. We make him
And then
make him
apparently
35 at start of Boo. Is that what we said? Remember, he's 19 years older than Gohan.
Yeah.
And Gohan turns 16 basically
So
at
we
the
said
top of the
36.
arc or right before. So
We said
35,
36.
36.
So
Okay,
he's
okay.
37 at the start. Okay, so he's 37 at the
At
start
the
of
start
Super.
of
At the start of Super.
That starts a year after. Because Daima is right there about the 6 month mark in between
Anyway,
Boo
though, follow
and
me.
so
6 months after that is Res F, because that's how long Frieza trains.
mhm.
Um, and then I
I
don't
thought it
know
was
how
4
long.
months.
You might be right, but then we have our 3 months from earlier, so we can just count that half a year.
All right, yeah.
So he's 37 and a half.
Okay.
Then we don't know how much time is in between that and Tournament of Destroyers.
Right.
And then after Tournament of Destroyers is Goku Black. But what we do know is that the entirety of Super has to be like 5 years because that's how old Pan is.
Right.
So that
And
means
we
at the
do
end of
know-
Super,
we
he would
do-
be. That
well,
means
wait,
at the end of
exactly
Super,
when
he
is
would be
Pan born?
42. At the end of Super, he would be 42. I just figured it out.
Yeah, that's
Pan
about
is
what
5.
I landed on.
Pan is 5.
Well, no. I was trying to say exactly when was she born because like we see when she's like a baby right after she's born, pretty early in the anime and the manga, don't we? I don't think we see her being born, but like she's kind of already there in Super, but like she's
You
like
know what I just forgot?
infant wise.
You know what I just forgot?
What's that?
Goku went in the time chamber with Miris, and he went in the time chamber with Vegeta. So we have to add 4 more years. He is 46. Biologically 38.
Type shit.
Wait. Yeah, wow. That nigga stole 8 years of life. That is sick.
That's crazy.
Good job, Goku.
That is crazy. But I guess that's what happens when you sacrifice yourself and you're a pure being. you
Elder
know?
Kai
Be-
gave
be
him the
great.
hookup. Elder Kai gave
great.
him the hookup.
Yeah, honestly, being able to think about that too. This guy hasn't died at all since then.
No, he died to hit.
He immediately resuscitates himself with
But he died.
a
But he died.
pre-planned ki blast. So he came back alive within enough
Moro
time.
damn near killed him when he put that arm through his chest.
That's true, but then it still didn't kill him.
Sensibine.
I'm just saying. Goku's a man that is hard to fully take down
That's that. He got that Wukong in him.
at this point.
He
And
got that
he's got
Wukong
Elder
in
Guy's
him.
life.
Mm.
You think he's got that lifespan?
That
You
would
think
be
that transferred?
Maybe since he died since then, it doesn't count anymore.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Because he
That would give him like
immediately came
600
back.
years.
But then it's like if we add like that.
If we
GT
count
lore
Dragon
in
Ball
there,
Online.
he only died again by kind of sacrificing himself. If you even think about that final end, he the only way to even defeat Omega Shenron was for him to give him his own life in exchange for the power to finally end that evil.
The only good things about GT.
Like, that's crazy.
The only good things about GT are the baby arc and the ending.
And Super Saiyan 4, you can't forget.
Super Saiyan 4 is part of the baby arc.
It's part of it was birthed there, yeah.
That's
yeah.
where Majub is. That's where the best villain is. That's the only arc where the other characters do anything.
Fucking. Well, I'll count it as the aftermath of that arc. I mean, that's when we lose Piccolo. Like,
I
because
think we lose Piccolo during Super 17.
because
Oh no,
he's
wait, yeah,
already
he
dead. He
sacrifices
can't help
himself. That's right.
because think remember
It's been
the
a while
Grand
since I've
Tour
watched
starts
GT.
because they're trying to get the Black Star Dragon Balls that scattered across the galaxy.
Yeah,
Now, when they get back, it's when they immediately have to deal with all this baby shit.
yeah.
They never ever have time to stop the I think there was like a wish made or some shit, so they end up scattering again. Some shit happens
They
to
have to
where they
migrate
weren't.
everyone on the planet to
Yeah,
Planet Tuffle, and
because
the
the
Earth
planet
blows up
still ends up
anyway.
blowing up
No, the
because
baby arc. The baby arc is good. Like the
it's
baby arc
so
is
good.
actually actively good.
And yeah, Piccolo sacrifices himself to make sure
One of
there's
these
just no more
days, we're
Dragon
going to
Balls.
rank
Like,
all of the arcs.
that's crazy.
One of these days, we're gonna rank all of the arcs, and I wonder how high up Baby's gonna make it because
shit.
I don't know how many Dragon Ball and Z arcs it would get past. It's probably not getting past any of Z, to be honest. Because
Probably not.
you would probably just break it down to Saiyan, Frieza, Cell, and Boo, right? Keep it simple.
Or should we just like?
We're
do
gonna
we
have to
include
figure
Dragon
that.
Ball arcs?
We'll have to figure that out off mic. But
I feel it, but
but
no, yeah. If you want to wrap her on up,
all right. I mean, I do think that this has been a productive episode. Um, we'll see if we got one more in the tank for us on this.
I think I'm ready to hit some super or
some Spark and Zero.
I
That
think-
does
I
sound
think-
like a plan.
Yeah,
That does sound
I
like a
think
plan.
keep us engaged a little bit and
Right,
fucking recap and shit. And
Make another pot of coffee.
type shit.
But this is still to be determined.
Still to be
And we are
determined.
still your hosts, Samad Thompson and Nick Say.
And Nick say you can't. Yeah.
Let me tell you, man, I'm really happy to be getting this thing off the ground. I'm excited that we're doing this.
I can't wait to
and,
watch these back. Like
I know.
probably not going to break fourth wall as much with things like that, but like we haven't even like edited and watched these back yet. So
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
still just even
There's
just
still
the
work to be
process.
done.
So it's like it's crazy. I can't wait to be able to watch the episode 0 and especially now episode 1 back.
Yeah.
And have them on the to be determined page.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
Um,
and really just get this going. I'm
just
definitely
when
excited
we
to be doing this.
when we get back into this, I think that the next episode we record, we're going to tackle one of our bigger topics. Like we're gonna start focusing in on like more deep dive sort of ideas in the series that we're into. We haven't really talked much Naruto yet, so there's got to be some untapped ground with that. We'll try to get into that next time a little bit, but you know.
Until next time.
Till next time, we are your hosts. Thank you for joining us, and peace, everybody.